Today I'm going to show you how to go from this to this. So why actually clean your desk when you can use a $4 green screen and a free software? So I'm going to show you how to do this. First, you're going to download the OBS software, which stands for Open Broadcaster Software. You can just Google OBS and it should be one of the top things that comes up. And you see right on the front page, Windows or Mac, you're going to click on most likely Windows, but if you have a Mac, you know who you are. We're going to click it. You can see it's starting to download. After that, you're just going to run it to install, and I generally go with recommended settings. But there's a second software you also need that goes with it. So now you're going to Google OBS Virtual Camera, and I found it in a form, which is again the top thing that comes up when I just Google OBS Virtual Camera. And you can see where they have clarified that this is the most updated version. And I'm just going to click this link. And I will likely include this link in the description, so check below. You might get to skip the Googling part. But then you're going to download the assets, and you're going to click the one that says .exe because that means execute. So it's going to run the automatic installer for you. And again, personally, I just go with usually the recommended settings. So once you've done that, this is what your new software looks like. And you can ignore this square with me talking. I just do that for you. And it looks a little intimidating at first, but that's why we're making this video. So there's two main things that I use this for. The first one is as a virtual webcam, which is where I showed you instead of having this messy desk and green screen is I'll have my chamber logos and whatnot, so it looks a lot cleaner. But I can also use this to start streaming to Facebook Live. So that's really handy where any of the types of assets or sources that I mentioned, you can use to create a video to stream live to Facebook or anywhere else as well. So the first thing we want to do is make sure we set up the virtual cam, which is really easy. All you have to do is click on Tools, click on Virtual Cam, and I usually just check Auto Start. Sometimes I need to come in and check Horizontal Flip. It just depends on the software you're using. Basically, if somebody says, oh, hey, your logo's backward, you just pop open your OBS and, just check this horizontal flip box and that's it. I usually leave this checked as well. Target camera. So I leave it on OBS camera, but basically whenever you go to open Zoom or any other virtual camera option, when it tells you to select your webcam, this is the name you're looking for. So my webcam name is actually called webcam, and that's what I'll feed into OBS. But the webcam that I want to choose elsewhere that has all the fancy stuff is going to be called whatever your target camera is. So for now, OBS camera. And then I just usually hit start and then I close it. For the most part, I can leave that alone and pretty much be done. The main thing that I want to show you is what I think are the confusing parts. So I'm going to focus on scenes and sources. So for scenes, basically you can create multiple setups at one time. So if you wanted to create a specific one for Zoom meetings and then a different one for specific PowerPoint presentation and then another one for side hobby or friends or whatever, this is where you would save those multiple settings so that your sources list doesn't get super long and crazy. I'm going to start by right-clicking this scene and I'm just going to rename it and it just needs to make sense to you. That's all that matters. Next is sources. These are going to be the most important ones for you. So to add a source, you're going to start with the plus button and pretty quickly, most of these should make sense. Audio is going to be an audio like my headset. If you needed it separate. Display capture will actually be basically your entire screen. Image is going to be really handy. That's what I'll use for the background. An image slideshow, and I'll show you how to do that too, will be how I rotate. If you're going to rotate either sponsor images or contact information, if you want it to change photos basically, you probably want the slideshow. Media source is going to be a pre-recorded video. Text is obvious. And then video capture is what I want for my webcam. So I'm going to create new. And again, I said mine's called webcam. Yours should show up right here. Mine's going to be a little wonky right now because I'm already showing you my webcam. So I'm really kind of already using it, but yours should show up right here. If it doesn't, click on device and double check that it's not under a different name. And then sometimes I'll just hit deactivate and then reactivate and wait a second, and usually it'll pop up. But you should see something right here. Otherwise, something is wrong with your webcam. After you hit OK, it should come up right here in the middle, and then you can just drag to resize. Sometimes I'll double check how my screen looks in Zoom, and I might have to wiggle stuff around, but I can actually do that live in OBS, which is why I think it's really cool. And then we're going to go ahead and rename it to, again, something obvious to yourself. And here's the tricky part. If you have a green screen like this, and again, this side is Dollar Tree plastic tablecloth and Dollar Tree, sorry, this is really disorienting, and Dollar Tree green poster board, and I highly recommend the green poster board, and literally just taping it together. You can see where there's some creases and crinkles, and on the poster board it's actually not too bad. I think this dark shadow might show up a little bit, but you can see with this glare and with the tablecloth, because it's so thin, any weird nuances and shadows like that do show up a lot more with the tablecloth. So green poster board. So with our webcam selected, I'm going to right click and I want to click on filters. And again, your webcam should be live and working. I want to look on the left hand side on the second box where it says effect filters, click the plus sign. And the first one I'm going to do is crop and pad. So this is where I'm literally going to cut out the messy desk and the edges of the green screen. So I usually start with a number and then I kind of ease in and out based on that. So I'm going to leave it there for now. And then I only have to move my cup like 2 more inches away. I think the top looks okay. The right will cut out some more. Okay, and this is actually where I'll cut out the top to get rid of that corner where that poster board folded over. Oh, that's really close. I just want to see how much I can get away with. Okay, I'm fine with this. This is what I'm going to crop to. And then you just hit close and it's already saved it. So after you crop, you'll probably have to resize. And then generally I recommend you try to center yourself because apparently that bothers people. And then same thing, I'm going to again right click on my webcam, select filters, but this time we're going to add a different one. This is the fun one. So hit plus underneath effect filters and we want chroma key. See, that worked really quickly where this is going to get rid of my green screen for me. You can start to mess with these if you want, and you kind of just have to eyeball it. It will be a little bit easier once you have a background. You'll be able to move this to the side, and it'll be easier to see some of the shadows and whatnot over the background as opposed to this gray sometimes. But generally, you won't go too crazy basically with this, but I will say before you start messing, I would kind of take note of these numbers. So the first one was like 400 and then the second one was 80, just to know what your starting point was, because again, when you hit close, it's going to save, which you can always delete the filter and start back over, but FYI. And then if you need to, you can try to mess with the contrast and the brightness and then the gamma. Again, you're just kind of playing around to see if any of these makes your video look a little bit better. All right, so that's good enough for me. I'm going to close. All right, so now I want to add another source. So I'm going to hit this plus sign. I want to add an image. Create new, okay. And now you're going to browse your computer. You're going to select it and then just hit OK. Now, as you can see, this is on top of my face, so you could no longer see my face. But this is a very easy fix. You're just going to treat the sources box like layers. So we're going to put image on the bottom. So all I did was drag and let go. That's all I'm doing. And you can just reorder them. And that's how that works. So I can see here where my desk gets into my logo a little bit, so that's where maybe I'll go back and edit my filter to crop that out more, or I can move myself around if I want, but this is just for you to get a feel for stuff. And this was a really easy background. You can see my other video on creating an easy Zoom background in Canva. This is a photo at my member's business and then our chamber logo and their logo, and they were my quote-unquote host for the virtual event. And then the other one I know you want to know about, we're again going to hit the plus sign and we're going to choose image slideshow. I'm pretty much going to leave that alone. Automatic. Transition, not a ton of options, but that's okay. I don't mind too much. Yeah, because these are the basic ones anyways. I'm just going to leave it alone. Time between slides. See what it looks like first and then go back and edit it. That way you can see, like, a lot of times it won't matter. I'm going to put my contact information in, so sometimes I want them to actually be able to have the time to read my email. Otherwise, I'm not super worried. Make sure that loop is checked. Don't check hide. Leave that alone. Okay. Automatic. All right. So then on this last box where it says image files, where you want to click the plus sign, add files, and now you're going to choose all of the photos you want to be in that slide. So you're going to add them in one at a time. So with the banner ones, I have already made these the same size. And I did these in Photoshop, but you could also use Canva, and I would just make sure that that size is the same thing. So I'm going to choose one, then I'm going to hit plus again, add file, add my second one, and just keep going until you've got all of them. And then you're going to hit OK. And you can see it right here. So we're going to wait a second to see if it rotates, because it should pretty much be live. There we go. Okay, so we know it works. And then again, you can drag this to wherever you want. You can resize the group in one click and not have to worry about it. The only time I'm worried is if you get logos that are like a lot of different sizes, it'll be really obvious, because sometimes you'll have one that's like maybe this big, and then the next one will be like this big, and then it'll be like this. So that's what I mean by resizing ahead of time. So these are just a very similar size. If you're using the virtual cam, so if you're using this as your webcam to Zoom or anywhere else, this is live. So you can just quickly be like, oh, just kidding. Or you can wait until somebody asks you a question and be like, oh, here's my contact info right on the screen. So this can be really helpful even for your presentations or other things. When you know that you're going to give certain information, you can preload it into your sources, and then whenever it's appropriate, you would just hit this I, and this is the difference between when it's white, you can view it. When it was grayed out and it has that slash, it's hidden. So that way, whenever it's time for that information, you would just click that one button and just keep going. I like things that are efficient. All right, so if you are using this as a webcam, you are good to go. That is all I really recommend you need to know. I'm going to include a link in the description below to a different tutorial by somebody else that is for live streaming, but generally you're going to click on start streaming and it's not going to let you, which is fine. You're going to click on open settings and you're going to click on stream service, choose your service, and then you'll have to get your stream key from Facebook, which is not that hard, but somebody else already has this video, so I will share it. And then you'll just hit OK. And once you have that information loaded, again, you'll just be able to hit start streaming and then give it like a second or two, and it will be live on Facebook for you to where you told it to. I hope this helped. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.